And welcome into Elevate 5280 Sports and Lifestyles Full Court Press. Since we are local here in Denver, we do a full court press which highlights specifically the Denver Nuggets, as maybe you can tell by the way I'm dressed, just getting home from Game 2 of the NBA Finals. Nuggets drop a heartbreaker 111-108. Jamal Murray at the end had a chance to tie this ball game up and send that game into overtime, but his three-point attempt fell a little bit short, and the Nuggets once again fall 111-108 to the Miami Heat. We're only going to be on here with you for about 10 to 15 minutes. We'll see if Matt Mascarenas will join us, maybe some other guests that you know. So we will see what is good. And yeah, that game 2, man, it was just weird from the jump. Miami started off with a very good first quarter, 7-0 run to start that first quarter for the Miami Heat. Jimmy Butler had 13 points in game 1. He finished with 21. Bam, 21. And, maybe one of the X factors heading into this game was Gabe Vincent. He had a very good game 1, 23 in game 2. Strus finally hit a couple shots. He had 14. Kevin Love got the start, hit 2 3-pointers. He finished with 6 points. And we mentioned Jimmy finished with 21. Caleb Martin was, stuffed to the bench in this game. And he hit 1 of 2, but the one shot was a very, very big 3-pointer that he hit in the corner. And Bam made 2 clutch free throws there at the end as well. And that was just crucial mistakes down the stretch for the Nuggets. And you hate to, and I don't want to speak for everyone here, but you almost hate to blame officials. But and again, I didn't watch it on TV, so I'm not sure what it looked like on TV. But the officiating was pretty bad even on TV as it maybe was in person. And I don't know. This was just a weird game from the get-go. It's weird when Jeff Green at halftime has a plus 18 and Nikola Jokic has a -8 at halftime. Honestly, the second unit played pretty darn well for the Denver Nuggets in this game. Christian Braun had himself a whale of a game for the Denver Nuggets, finished with only 6 points, but it honestly seemed like 60 the way he was going. He was 3 for 3 from the field with 6 points, as I mentioned. A big steal on an inbound pass. He finished actually with 3 steals, 3 assists, and a rebound in there as well. Bruce Brown had 10 in game 1 off the bench. Well, he capped that one more with 11 in game 2, 27 minutes off the bench. Jeff Green, once again, had a nice game, 9 points, and those were your 3 people off the bench. Jeff Green finished with a plus 12, Bruce Brown a plus 14, Christian Braun a plus 8. All of your starters were in the negative, by the way, and the highest being Michael Porter Jr., who we'll get here in a second. Just a terrible game for MPJ in this game. He was a minus 15. He did have 6 rebounds, only 5 points, 2 of 8 from the field, 1 of 6 from 3. You can't have Michael Porter and KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, combined for 11 points. We mentioned it earlier this morning on the Wheelhouse, me and Matt. You cannot have 2 starters like the Miami Heat did in game 1. Caleb Martin and Max Strus combined for 3 points in game 1, or 2 points in game 1. I think Strus came out and hit 4 3-pointers. I think all of them were in the first quarter, but I think they were both mad that Scooby the dog, the halftime performer in game 1, had more points than they did in game 1. So maybe that was their motivation. KCP, once again, 6 points, 6 fouls. He did foul out there towards the end of the third quarter. And Jamal Murray, once again, we mentioned at the top, almost hit that game-tying 3-pointer. He finished with 18. You figure if he gets to his normal between, I guess, 22 and 25 points, maybe it's a different ball game. But we kind of mentioned that in the Wheelhouse also this morning, me and Matt, saying if Jimmy had his normal 22 to 25 points, game 1 would have been a whole different story as well. So once again, the Denver Nuggets fall in game 2. The series is tied. The series is shifting back to Miami. Once again, another 2 days off. Game 3 isn't until Wednesday. So you get another couple days off to get some sleep, I guess, as we'll roll with you here for another 5 minutes or so. And Nikola Jokic, what else can you say about what his performance did? And we kind of touched on it in the wheelhouse this morning, was that you let him score however much you want and shut down his branches, his roots, if you will, his vines that spread out. Game 1, guys were hitting their shots. Game 2, they were not hitting their shots. Nikola finished with 41 points and only 4 assists. So it was a non-triple-double game for Nikola Jokic. He did finish with 11 rebounds, but we kind of mentioned it that you kind of needed to let Nikola do what he needed to do in the paint, whatever, and he did. They let him. And he was 16 of 28 from the field, hit 2 3-pointers, which were big ones. Aaron Gordon, by the way, hit 2 3-pointers that were big, finished with 12 points, 7 rebounds. That's what I don't know if that's what you want or expect, but that's what you get from Aaron Gordon nowadays. 12.7 assists, a solid game for AG tonight as well. Once again, the bench, one of the questions that I'm going to have is, do you let your bench play a little bit longer than they did? I know you got to put your starters out there. You depend on your starters for a lot of things, but do you let them play when things are, we talked about earlier series when it was the Lakers series, Phoenix series, what have you. We talked about the non-Nikola minutes, and Nikola played. First it was KCP that played with the second group, with Bruce Brown, Christian Brown, Jeff Green, and KCP out there as well. Aaron Gordon also mixed in because he goes from the starting power forward to the starting center when the subs come in, and that unit looked good. And then the second unit in the second half with, again, Bruce Brown, Christian Brown, Jeff Green, Nikola Jokic, and I think Jamal was out there with that group as well. Those groups look pretty good. And again, all the bench players were in the plus, all the starters were in the minus. So you had no choice but to sit MPJ, probably what was going to be the entire fourth quarter until KCP fouled out. And then you had to throw MPJ back out there. He just looked lost on defense. I don't know if that first game was an anomaly where he had 2 blocks, played great defense, double-double, 14 points, whatever rebounds he had in game 1. So, again, combined scoring for Denver starters between KCP and MPJ, the 3 initial guys, 11 points, 5 for Porter, 6 from KCP. You need a lot more. Even if Porter hits one of those 3-pointers that he takes, it's a whole different ball game. Again, MPJ, 1 of 6 from the distance. So you can't have that. Again, game 1, these guys were making shots, although now Michael Porter is 3 of 17 in this series from 3-point distance. So you can't have that. On the Miami side, we mentioned it. Bam led all scorers for the Heat in that game 1 loss with 26. It was a lot more even. The difference in game 1, these guys weren't hitting their shots. Game 2, they were. As we mentioned, Jimmy Butler, 21 points, 7 of 19 from the field. Kevin Love got 22 minutes. He started this game, and he hit 2 3-pointers. He shot 6 of them. Bam, once again, 21 points. Jimmy, 21 points. Strus, 14. And Gabe Vincent, who was very efficient from the field, 8 of 12. And if you take away that incredible flop that Gabe Vincent had, it was pretty incredible. So there was another 3 points for Gabe Vincent. They're a free 3-pointer from Gabe Vincent from the free throw line. Again, Kyle Lowry off the bench, 9 points. Caleb Martin, 3, but that 3 that he hit was pretty large. Cody Zeller had 4 as opposed to 0 in game 1. Duncan Robinson was finally hitting shots, and he finished with 5 points. And it was just a weird game. And it was just one of those games where you tip your hat to Miami. Nuggets now have to win one in Miami. They have to try to take back home court advantage, if you will, in this series. Once again, Miami gets the win 111-108. Some of the keys for the Nuggets in game 3 heading down to Miami, Coach Michael Malone, mentioned in his post-game presser questioning effort for the guys. Jamal kind of blew that off. Jeff Green dropped an F-bomb in his post-game presser, saying it's the effing finals, and that's got to be what a lot of people are saying right now. Players, coaches, fans alike are saying, man, this is the effing finals. Honestly, the Nuggets came out in game 2 like I thought they would in game 1. Kind of sluggish, kind of lackadaisical, just kind of going with the motions, I guess, and that's what I thought they would look like in game 1. Turns out it transferred into game 2. So hopefully they'll be woken up, I guess, when this series goes down to South Beach and game 3 comes on Wednesday night. It is pretty crazy to those people who say this might have been a sweep, Nugs in 4. It's still a possibility that Nuggets in 5, but this Miami Heat team, this is how they got to where they are right now, and that's live and die by the three-pointer. Game 1, they weren't going in. Game 2, they were. So really quickly before we get out of here, only wanted to spend a few minutes talking about this game. Tonight, the Miami Heat were 17 of 35 from 3, just under 49%. The Nuggets, 11 of 28, just under 40%. So there is the big difference in this game when it comes to live and die by the 3. In contrast, game 1, Miami was only 13 of 39, 33%. The Nuggets, well, they weren't too much better, 8 of 27 for 29%. But you had more scoring. It was more balanced scoring in that game 1. So game 2, whole tale of two halves. Nuggets came back in that second quarter, had a 15-point lead at one time, and Miami kept creeping back almost like they did in game 1 when they started hitting shots late in game 1. And all these shots that they missed in game 1 were going in game 2. Kyle Lowry, a couple clutch baskets off the bench. We mentioned Duncan Robinson, only with 5 points, but 1 big 3 as well. And again, Jimmy Butler, 8 more points in this game. And the goaltend that wasn't, again, it's hard to tell in person. Sitting behind the basket where I was, hard to kind of tell if it was on the way down, what have you. Heard from a couple people watching on TV that it was a blown call, and I was like, there's your difference in the game. But stupid me, they lost by 2, or excuse me, they lost by 3, not 2. So even if they called that goaltending, you're obviously the outcome may be different, but you're still down by 1 point. And maybe Jamal doesn't have to not necessarily force up a 3. He looked like he got a good look at it. He even said in his post-game presser, had a good look, just didn't fall. And so maybe if that goaltending was called, you're down by 1, you don't have to chuck up a 3. You can maybe get more of a higher percentage shot. I know coming down the floor with 11 seconds, time's running out. You kind of have to do what you got to do there. No timeout was called. A lot of people blaming Michael Malone for not using that timeout. He even said in his post game, just let the guys run, full trust in the players. So once again, game 3, we should have a article up for you recapping this one here tomorrow, at some point tomorrow. And we will hopefully get some game 3 previews on Wednesday before the game as well. Once again, your final score, the Miami Heat 111, the Denver Nuggets 108, as the NBA Finals now all evened up at 1 game apiece as the series shifts to Miami, Florida on Wednesday. This has been Elevation 5280 Sports and Lifestyles Forecourt Press, as once again we are located in Denver. So our full court press coverage is specifically the Denver Nuggets. Make sure to check out all the socials: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, what have you. We'll see if we'll put this up on Spotify. It was only 15 minutes long, so maybe not. But you can view all the videos on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube all you want. So we'll get out of here. Have a good evening. And if I was going to throw punch someone, probably a referee in this one, and or this Miami dude a couple rows ahead of me, not even wearing a Miami jersey, shirt, nothing. Literally looked like he got off some kind of boat in Miami, dressed like he's in Miami Vice, wearing sunglasses inside. That's your first hint when you know someone's a D-bag when they wear sunglasses inside. And again, if they're prescription, okay, but I don't think they were prescription. So that was my analysis on the dude 2 rows in front of me, who I would have throat punched if he said something I didn't like. So we're going to get out of here. Once again, this has been Elevation 5280 Sports and Lifestyles Full Court Press headlining the Denver Nuggets as they fall once again 111-108 in Game 2. Series tied 1 game apiece in the NBA Finals. We'll talk to you soon.